My name is Zuzana Křemenová. I'm from Prague, from Czech Republic, and I'm going to share our story from tertiary university hospital. Next slide, please, Frank. Here you can see the situation was very similar in our country than anywhere in the world. Millions of cases affected by COVID and thousands of deaths in our country. This is a picture from one UK study where you can see how a death pattern changed during COVID. Home and hospice settings were affected slightly, but the great burden was placed in hospitals and in care homes where mortality increased really dramatically. In our hospital, the situation was very similar. As we are university hospital, severe cases were placed in our hospital. So very shortly, we had a lack of hospital beds. And this increased healthcare staff exhaustion very shortly. At the beginning, we participated in our Czech Society of Palliative Care on this brochure. This is a booklet which is called Symptom Management of COVID. And the aim of this tiny book was that every doctor in the country would be able to manage breathlessness, pain, and other COVID symptoms. In our hospital, we are aware of a great need of implementing our services also in COVID wards. We did joint morning rounds with COVID doctors, and our strategy was that we were just present and listening what they are speaking about the patients, and just time to time set some adding notes. And the goal of this was to upgrade their sensitivity to palliative care needs of the patient. But the great need was also for looking after the staff, because they were not used to work together. For example, in one ward, a young, clever doctor led the team for the first time, and she was really anxious and maybe uncertain. So our goal in this concrete ward was just to support her and make her a partner for discussion of difficult cases. From this experience, we have written down a list of what we can offer, and we came to the lead of all COVID units and came to him and said, "Hell, here we are, and this is how we can help you and help your team." And he was maybe shocked and said, "Wow, everybody wants something from me, and no one during this pandemic came and offered help." As pandemic proceeded, more patients died, and not only elderly patients. Here you can see numbers from our ICU units, where you can see that, for example, mortality of patients who were less than 40 years old was 12%, so quite high, and they were really young patients. And this caused really great challenges for doctors on the units. They worked together for the first time. They were not familiar of taking care of patients who were so severely ill. They didn't know how to manage end of life, how to communicate with patients with advanced disease. So it was continuous, onward, everyday teaching part of our consults. And also managing strong emotions, just acknowledging them. Well, how are you today? You look sad. And they begin to speak, and we got very important information about the service and how can we help them. On the graph here, you can see some statistics about major issues where we were called to COVID teams, mainly to make a palliative care plan, to control for symptoms and for psychosocial support of the patients and their families. But as you see on the second slide, really we managed dying because more than 50% of our patients died, and the average time we spent with them was just 3 days, so very quick turnover of patients. Not only doctors faced challenges, also nurses did. They were experienced in symptom assessment. They didn't know how to assess symptoms in patients who were not able to communicate or were unconscious, and they really feared of opioids. They thought that opioids are just for dying people, so we needed to educate them that they are also very useful for breathlessness management. And as you know, many of our drugs are administered subcutaneously, and they didn't have any experience with it. So we needed to teach them how to administer subcutaneous cannula, what kind of medication can be administered via subcutaneous way. And also help them maybe just to speak about their suffering, about how it's important and difficult for them to cope with death, and that every day patients died. And we also had some shared challenges, because a shared vulnerability of us being able to contact COVID from our patients, family members infected, they were not able to visit their loved ones. So we were the only channel between them and their relatives, and increased really the communication needs of families and caused severe time constraint on us and other healthcare staff. They were unable to say goodbye at the end, and it caused another complication during bereavement. And what have we learned from this experience? We have learned as a team that we are able to manage extreme workload. We managed twice as many patients as usual, and we have learned how important it is to help another staff, doctors, nurses, to be successful. And I think they really did very good job. It was demanding also for us and challenging for us. So self-care and support from colleagues and from our families was really important and crucial during this difficult time. And also Ministry of our country, Ministry of Health, recognized our story, and they asked us to share our way how to implement palliative care in COVID wards, because we found out that we were the only team in the country who successfully implemented and increased and sustained their services in COVID wards. So leadership in every member of our team was apparent, and it was very important during this time. And before I say goodbye to you, Winston Churchill quote again: "Never let a good crisis go to waste," and I hope we didn't. We not only sustain our services, but also grow from this experience, and I think our work made very great impact on relationships between us and another wards in the hospital. Thank you for your attention.